about 4 o'clock on our last meeting. I'm a little sad. I don't know about you guys, but we're about to get things kicked off. Trenny, President Trenny, if you cried during the reporter motion, I hope to see some tears today. No pressure, but I would appreciate it. Well, we'll see. You're shaking your head, but I'm going to go ahead and officially call this meeting into order 1 minute early at 3:59 p.m. And we're going to go ahead and get started tomorrow, he says. Okay, we'll see. So starting off with roll call, Senator Bigd.
Present.
Senator Gustafson.
Here.
Senator Gabbard.
Here.
Senator Vondra.
Here.
Senator Alimo.
Here.
Senator Mendonça.
Here.
Senator Parte.
Here.
Senator Salim. Senator Salim. Senator Nemo.
Here.
Senator Hawk. Senator Hawk. She messaged me she was here, so her mic might not be working. Senator Khan.
Here.
Senator Pham.
Present.
Senator Al-Sadi.
Present.
Senator Albera.
Present.
Senator Osman. Senator Osman. Senator Stiff.
Here.
Senator Nelson.
Here.
Senator Sweeney.
Here.
Senator Ruiz.
Here.
Senator Wheeler.
Here.
Senator Thomas. Senator Thomas. Senator Abbasi. Senator Abbasi. Senator Bejarano.
Here.
Senator Wickman.
Here.
Senator Hopwood.
Here.
Senator Flynn.
Here.
Senator Novak.
Howdy.
Senator Mecklenburg.
Here.
Okay. President Trenny.
Here.
Vice President Maltari.
Here.
And myself. Perfect. Okay. So we are going to go ahead and move on to presentations today. Our second presentation, that presenter is not going to be able to get here till 4:30, so we might just end up coming back, but we'll go ahead and start with Vice President Johnson.
Thank you. It's great to be here. I'm feeling the same way that the speaker is. It's a great day and it's a sad day, and we're glad we could have been a part of this year. I really hope that you'll see that we're going to finish the year a bit like we started. We had heard some things last week from Senator Khan and others about getting information to students about the technology resources that were available, and that we weren't necessarily reaching all those folks. And so what we did is put together a presentation for you today, and Linde is going to do the presenting, and I'm going to augment. And what it's going to do is it's going to talk about, we heard your concern, here's what we do, and here's what we're going to do, and what's your thoughts. So that's kind of the theme of this quick presentation. And we really are interested in your feedback through the presentation or afterwards or next week if you're going to stay on or whatever. But so here, that's the gist of what we're going to talk about today. So I'm going to turn it over to Amy, and we're going to talk to you a little more about what we heard and what we're doing.
Perfect. Thanks, Mark. Hi, everyone. I am Amy Linde. I'm the Director of Strategic Communications for IT Solutions. So that means that I just try to help spread the word and help lead a team of students that really help us with our messaging and our graphics, esports and video, all sorts of things under that umbrella too. So like Mark said, we put together a few slides here today. I'm going to kind of go through this. I know I'll keep it under 10 minutes here, but I wanted to just say that we heard you go through kind of what we do already, just because I'm interested in getting your feedback on if you've heard of any of these things, if you haven't, if something you see you think would be really beneficial, we should do more of, or something that just doesn't work too. What we find is communications is never a perfect science, and it's always a changing target. So hearing again from you guys that you're not hearing about things is really helpful for us. And I really do hope to get your input, and it's great timing. We put together this really quickly after Mark shared your comments last week. So before you break for summer, or some of you graduate, we can get that and work on a plan over this summer to really try to step it up fall or sooner too. So we heard from you. And then, like I said, I'm gonna give you a section here on kind of some things we currently do. Not sure if it works to ask questions during, but I'm sure Mark will watch the chat and let me know if you guys have something here. But
Amy, could you go back to what we heard and just read that? Because I think it's important what we make sure we have. So students aren't aware that they have access to services and software that they need for their classes, and where they are, how they access them. So that's the gist of this presentation. So
thank you, Mark. Okay, so this is just a short overview of what we currently do, content we have, and kind of how we distribute it at this point. We use a kind of a mix of mediums. Print isn't as big, especially with COVID, but we still do produce some print pieces that we turn into some digital content. So we have student tech guides. We put in Res Life rooms before people move in, and we put into their communications, as well as having them across campus at key offices, as well as some key information sheets too at our IT Solutions Center and key places and partners on campus. Digital. I'm going to show you guys some examples too in the other slides, really quick screenshots, but we have our ITS website, which we are completely redoing this summer too, and we're really in the planning and analyzing stages. So your input on that too, if you've been to our site, is totally been more than welcome. We make shareable graphics, so social media. Recently, we added a new graphical icon in D2L, and we're trying to find ways to use D2L to get these resources in front of people a little bit more too. And then video content as well. We, in the last year especially, it's give us kind of a launching pad to create the digital content to try to distribute how-to videos, what you have videos, and then trying to integrate those back into key points, we call them, in the student journey too, from, you know, before you even start through your whole experience when you're here too as well. So here's just a couple screenshots too. Again, take it in for me, and please give feedback too if you've seen or heard of any of these. A sample of some of our print. We also have a faculty one, so we're trying to get resources in front of faculty, both what they have as a faculty member, but also informing them of what students have too is a key piece of our strategy too. And
when Amy says resources, these are print pieces that tell you about the software and services we offer that we put out there, so you learn about it and then can use those services. So that's when she says a print piece about it. It's about the technology that we have available to you as students.
Mm-hmm. Yep, and then our web pages to our IT solution website in general, but we also have some really focused resources too. We have one just for student technology resources that's out there that really tries to dissect and serve up content we think that would be really useful to students in a way that hopefully is easier to manage. So highlighting MAV-Mail, D2L, MAV-Print. We have something just for residence community services. There's a lot of pieces in there. It's just showing the website and different pieces. We also put out like news articles, and we try to keep up with what we hear to try to provide and move around content on our website. And then shareable graphics. So this is kind of a large umbrella term for saying we create a lot of neat graphics that we can share across campus. So they try to get out on digital displays, or we share it with certain people who put out different newsletters. So maybe you get one from your college, or the faculty members get one. We put them on our Facebook, Twitter pages, as well as try to distribute in some other areas too, to try to use, I don't know how to describe it, just use the network to get the words out there in different ways too. So we have a yearly marketing calendar or communications calendar where we try to each month slice and dice all the content we have and try to make sure that we're rotating and talking about Office 365 a couple times a year, and it's regular, and we keep putting it up, or MavPrint, or any of the other resources out there as well. And then app tutorials too. So our YouTube has been growing, and we have been putting out more specific little videos of how to use things within our own environment. We know you have Office 365 videos you could find, but we did make one last summer for 365. We've made a new video that goes in the online orientation as well for new incoming students too as well. And then we try to create some video content whenever we're releasing a new feature too. So those are out there. And then here, these look like just a few more samples of some of our videos that we have out there right now. Training webinars. We put out in March, we put out some webinars on Office 365. We try to do topics on cybersecurity too. We don't do too many of these, but we're trying to increase like interest and awareness on those pieces too. So I'd be interested to see what you guys think of that.
By the way, I wanted to introduce the lead actors or actresses in all of our videos are students, just so you know.
Yeah, they are. And then this is just a quick way for me to show you ways that we then take what we're creating and where we try to put it right now. So this isn't all encompassing, but we partner with different people. So here's some examples with Res Life. We try to get it in posters and their digital content within the rooms, and then keep the messaging going. Orientation, we've really tried to partner and amp up that content a little more, which I think there's always room for improvement. Colleges too, we try to not just have it live in IT, but try to get it out through different channels too, who you guys might work with or know within your programs as well. And then IT Solutions itself too, we have MavLife. We try to make some posts within the app. We send out digital e-newsletters, just a couple a year, and digital display, social media, things like that. So I'm rambling really fast so I can get as much input from you guys as possible. It's not perfect, but I'm really curious. These are some things that we've heard from others that we do want to implement too, to just get your brains thinking. And then I'm going to ask you for questions and feedback. So we want to see what other opportunities we can do for faculty training or awareness too, because we know that the more that they know the resources too, the more that helps our students. So and more visibility and integration within D2L, do more journey mapping for students. So really targeting different segments like graduate students, international, that may not follow the traditional trajectory too, to make sure that we're not missing anybody. Working more with new student family programs for when people just start, and just more general exposure and awareness. So those are some of our ideas. But really why I'm here and why I'm rambling is really to hear from you guys on what you think is working. I know that you get so many messages, and our balance is always try to get you the right things, but also not overwhelm you too. So I'm interested to see where you think you'd hear these message and what you think as students would be most effective, so you can really know these right away.
Wonderful. So go ahead and open up the floor. Are there any questions or feedback?
Well, good. We hit it home run. We got everything figured out. Everything you ever could possibly want. We're going to have it. So I'll put my email in here again. So many of you, even during the meeting, sometimes send me an email. That's great, and we'll take that feedback. So again, look at what we will, and we'll put this out there. Amy will put this document out. If you have other thoughts, how we could reach these constituents, any concerns you have, let me know right away, and we'll work on it this summer. Amy and I will work on it this summer with our teams. So
awesome. We do have feedback from Senator Flynn, or a question. I don't know.
Okay.
Just one question and maybe idea, if you're not already doing this. Do you currently reach out to students at orientation?
Yes, we are on the orientation list, and we have goes way back to maybe about 20 years ago. We started having our own video, but we have a section in there, and we have a handout. The flyer or the booklet you saw goes in. Unfortunately, what happens is it gets in that bag with everything, I'm not sure it gets pulled out at the right time. And so we have to work on that. And, and I think sometimes that's kind of the fire hose day, you're getting so much information. And I think what we have to do is find places where they see it again so that they get the information. So yeah, we definitely do that, but maybe it's not as effective as we'd like it to be, or you'd like it to be.
And have you considered doing outreach during like specific classes, perhaps?
That's funny. I actually had a conversation with one of my my chief operating officer 5 minutes ago, and I said, I want to get into every single class, every single time for 3 minutes or less, and tell everybody what we're doing. What do you think of that? It's like, well, it's a lot of classes, but we want to think about that. We want to figure out how to get into individual places and individual faculty. So we're going to work on that this summer and see if we can come up with some ideas.
Because I wonder about the possibility of doing it with English composition.
Yeah, good idea. Great idea.
A lot of people's first experience with Microsoft 365.
It's a great place, yeah, especially if they get it their first semester. If they get it the second, they may need it the first for other things. So, but yeah, it's a great place. And I think we'll focus on some of those ideas.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, can you guys hear me?
Yes.
I was going to suggest maybe doing it during like first year experience, which is that class a lot of like freshmen and students take, or otherwise just like maybe emailing all the people who do like general ed classes and then asking them to make a plug. Other than that, I was also going to suggest like advisors or advising centers, making sure that like they tell their students or first year students during then. Yeah,
those are all great ideas. And if we're not doing it, we'll do more of it. And then even, I think what you're also saying is get them something that they can give to pass on, right? They may not be able to explain it, but they could give something out. So we'll do that. I think that's a great idea. Thank you.
Senator Khan.
So just another idea could be, you know how College of Business Advising Center have like flyers and stuff. And every time a student comes up for an advice, they usually, if it has something to do with IT or something, they would tell you and give out flyers. So that could be a good way to start including those advisors into some of the information that they could then give out to the students.
That's a good one. A targeted advisors, both at the college level, and then there's also institution-wide advisors too. So I think those are great ones. And the other thing we could do is maybe get the president and vice president of the student senate to actually help us get the word out next year. What do you think about that?
Love that idea.
Wonderful. Are there any additional questions or comments? Any other questions or comments? Any other questions or comments?
Thanks for putting up with us this year. We really enjoyed being here. So thanks a lot. We'll see you soon.
Well, we enjoyed having you. Thank you. Next up on our agenda, I do believe that our next presenter just got here. Dr. Mark, are you with us?
I am indeed. I just popped in 30 seconds ago.
Perfect. Well, perfect timing. So you have the floor now.
Oh, wow. I was hoping to have a few minutes to get the lay of the land, but I can jump in, sure. So I'm Greg Marg. I am the Faculty Association President. So that's our faculty union on campus here. I've had the pleasure of this last year, or actually 2 years almost, working with Andrew and Arnavi quite a bit. It's been a lot of fun. We've had good conversations. We learn a lot from each other, I think. And so I'm going to miss both of them next year, and I'm looking forward to meeting their successors. We're trying to set that up soon. But the main reason I'm here is actually not so much to do with our campus, but another committee I'm on. I have to think about this because about an hour I could talk on this, and you don't want that, I'm sure. So with the death of George Floyd last year and some other similar incidents, the Vice Chancellor for Academic and Student Affairs, Ron Anderson, decided, among other things, that we needed to look at our general education program and specifically goal area 7, which is human diversity. And so he assembled a work group. and has got membership from a lot of different groups, including Arnavi and I are co-chairs, along with a member from Inver Hills. And what we were charged with is developing a new goal area 7. And it had some fairly specific guidelines in that it was supposed to deal with racial inequality and anti-racism. So we've been working on that since, well, I think we first met in November. We've been meeting about monthly. And we have a draft, and I want to emphasize this is draft. This is still open for lots of discussion. So we're sharing it with different groups. And in fact, I have an alternate draft I might share with you as well that came from the student organization, your state student organization, right? Your Students United, right? Somebody say yes, please.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Am I able to share my screen? Do you know, is it set up?
Yes.
Okay, let me try and see. I'm actually gonna put the Student United one up first. They're fairly similar, but so what we're looking at is, each of the goal areas has got a description of what that goal area is meant to accomplish, and then student learning outcomes along with it. And so what we have here is, again, the Students United version. I just got it yesterday, I think. But as I kind of laid it side by side with the committee's latest version, it's fairly similar. And as I said, we're kind of sharing it with different groups that obviously have an interest in it, and that includes students, pretty obviously. I've been in about 6 or 7 of these sharing sessions now, mostly with faculty, and I'll just start by sharing a couple of the issues that have come up. One is, as it's currently written, it's not very inclusive of other types of, or including of other people with marginal or marginalized groups or other identities. It's kind of excluded largely, at least as compared to the current human diversity. There's been some concern that maybe this is a little too advanced for a gen ed course. And then, faculty, one of the things we have to worry about, how do we assess whether these learning outcomes are met? And a number of faculty have looked at these and said, I'm not sure how I can do that right now. But basically, this is a document. We've got, I think, 6 or so, learning outcomes. And then actually the Students United had some other suggestions as well. And next week, Friday, the work group is meeting again. And I know we're going to take this and we're going to take the other document we have and kind of lay them side by side. And our goal is actually to try and come up with a recommendation to share, if not this semester, very early in fall. I think at that, I just want to pause and see, are there questions or specific concerns or anything you want to share with me?
Thank you. Are there questions or comments on the Students United or anything for Dr. Marg? Senator Novak.
I personally think that this is a very wonderful thing to pursue, especially in light of recent events. So I personally am very in favor of this. I will say that the thing that you mentioned about not being inclusive of all marginalized groups is something that that I think is an obstacle that must be overcome in order to implement this, just because we want to make sure to assess all possible forms of oppression in implementing something like this. So has there been a whole lot of discussion related to how we could possibly remedy it to make it more inclusive of all those marginalized groups?
I wouldn't say there's been extensive discussion, but there has been some. One of the things is just kind of a larger revision of the whole transfer curriculum, such that maybe there would be 2 courses required in this area. And the one of them would be very strongly focused on the anti-racism and that issue. And then the other one would be kind of, okay, what else? The other groups that we want to make sure we included here. There's a concern about adding a course into the transfer curriculum or into the Gen Ed program. And also thought about, basically shifting some of, maybe there's another area that we either don't think is as important, and so we'll get rid of it and still keep the same number of courses. It's just that one area would disappear. There's been some talk about making it a graduation requirement instead. The 2-year campuses are usually opposed to that because they are already so tight in what they do. Plus, a lot of their students leave without finishing really graduating. And so they would be able to skip it at that point. So, it's something that has come up regularly. And so it is definitely something we need to address. I don't know that we have a solution yet. Great observation, though.
Are there any other questions or comments? Senator Novak.
Sorry, it's me again. I know that you said that it was a bit of a challenge to kind of assess what courses may or may not fall under this. Do we have any courses as of right now that you believe would be strong contenders to fall under this? Or do we have a system of analyzing what courses could fall under this? Is it just going down points A through F and saying which ones apply here?
So actually, I confused you a little bit on that. It's not a matter of assessing which courses would fit into this category. I know we have some courses that would fit into this wonderfully. I have no doubt about that. It's each of these learning outcomes as part of the assessment activities at the university. We have to be able to come up and say, okay, how are we going to assess if students have accomplished goal A? What's our evidence going to be, and how do we evaluate that evidence, and things like that. So it's not a matter of the courses fitting into the category. It's a matter of assessing whether the learning outcomes have been met. That's the part that's hard because the language that's used, explain is something that we can assess. So if you look on my screen right now, learning outcome F, explain we can meet, but you know what? By the fact that it's got and or here, that means we don't have to worry about assessing all of these, but some of these, let's see if I can find one quickly. Okay, so learning outcome D here, we'd have to be able to assess whether a student can describe the experiences, the complexities, and the contributions all. So that's almost like assessing 3 different things instead of one. The main idea here is it just, not that it couldn't be done, it just gets to be a lot more complicated.
Thank you. Are there any other questions or comments? No?
Dr. You guys are letting me off easy. If you have any questions or comments, I'm happy to hear them, and I'll try and carry them on for you. As I said, Arnavi is also a co-chair, and I'm sure she would say the same thing. That anything you want to share with us, we're going to bring back to the work group and try and address.
Wonderful. I do see one more comment. Senator Novak.
Sorry, it's me again, and then I'll let you go. But do we have a sort of timeline for when we might be able to see this implemented?
Yeah, that's been a lot of discussion too. Originally, we were hoping that in fall of 22, it would be in place. We're a little concerned about meeting that because this, So when we're done with it, it goes back to the vice chancellor. The vice chancellor then has a couple of groups that have to review and act on it and so on. And eventually it goes to a policy group. The policy has to change the Minnesota transfer curriculum, which then has to be approved by the board of trustees, which in order to be ready to do in fall, probably would need to be done by January. And a lot of people who've done this kind of stuff before think that's pretty optimistic. But that's also one of the big concerns that's come up is, people are saying, this has to be done now. We need to figure this out now. And so we're trying to see if maybe there's a way to implement it, if nothing else, as an option right away, and then wait for the requirement part of it to catch up through the normal process. But great questions. We ought to have you on the committee.
Wonderful. Are there any other questions or comments? Any others? Any others? Any others? Okay, seeing none, we will go ahead and move on. Thank you, Dr. Mark, for coming.
Thank you for inviting me. I appreciate it.
Of course. I see that your email has been listed in the chat. So,
great.
Please feel free to reach out with any more comments or feedback on it.
Okay. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you. So with that, we are done with presentations. We're going to move on to open forum. Is there anyone here for open forum? Anyone here for open forum? Mr. Constantine.
I often wait until the end of announcements to say a few things, but you all are going to be anxious to get out of the meeting after that. But I wanted to just take a moment to thank the 88th for your great work this year. We've had a pretty unusual year. You all have hung in there and really helped. And, without the students, we're all about the students as administrators, faculty, and staff. And you all have done a terrific job. I want to thank you on behalf of the CSU and student activities staff for all your good work. For our graduating seniors, we wish you well. For those of you that are returning, it might not be just to the Senate, but if you aren't returning to the Senate, we hope to see you in other leadership positions around campus. And if you don't know where to turn to our student activity staff and our staff in the CSU, and we can help you on the right path possibly along the way. I'd be remiss not to thank a few special people. Zach, I wanted to say thank you to you for your work on SAC. Allison, I didn't see her on the screen, but she's been our chair for the Student Union Board this past year and last year as well. So thank you to them for their good work. Our unsung heroes a little bit sometime are Amber and John, that do a lot of work for you all behind the scenes. I want to make sure that you all say thanks to them at the end of the year as I say thanks to them as well. I work with John regularly, and I don't know how if you guys understand how lucky you are to have him as your advisor. So thanks, John, for your work. And finally, the big three, I guess, Andrew, Kara, and Arnavi. Your leadership has been outstanding. To be able to pull this off the way we've done it this year through Zoom mostly has been a godsend. I've enjoyed working with you all. I look forward to working with Kara next year as well as Rihanna. We offer you our support in any way that we can. But I just wanted to say thanks to all of you for a great year on behalf of my staff. Thank you.
Thank you. That was so sweet of you. We look forward to working with you as well. Is there anyone else here for open forum? Anyone else? Anyone else? Anyone else? Okay, then we are going to go ahead and move on to officer reports, starting with President Trenny.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. So I have a couple of things for Senate, and yeah, this is my last Senate meeting over 4 years. Wow, crazy. Well, I guess next week's my last one. But the inauguration is tomorrow at 4 p.m. in the ballroom or Zoom if you prefer that way. Again, encourage people to come in person. We'll have food and be giving out literally a lot of awards tomorrow afternoon. And then next week, Wednesday at 5:30 is the banquet for just the Senate. So if you're not a senator this year and you haven't been invited, you're not. Yeah. So it's at 5:30 next Wednesday. Again in the ballroom as well. If you have had to RSVP to come, just because we need the food order, And again, both events are business casual, so dress for pictures. Lenny will be here tomorrow to take pictures of everyone. So Students United, we had our elections on Sunday, and after 9 hours, I do want to say to Senate, it's the first time ever, we have 2 Mankato people as state chair and vice chair of Students United, which is unheard of. So our president of Students United will be Emma Zelmer. She was our former speaker, and she's vice chair this year, so vice president of Students United. And then our new vice president of Students United is Arnavi Maltari, our current vice president here. So those that don't know, Students United is our statewide student association. So they represent us at the system, state and federal level. So they, did the MTC, and they're led by the board, but they truly do good work for us, and wish Arnavi good luck next year in her new position. She is a great candidate and will do great, as is Emma. Let's see. Students United this morning has been working. I don't know if Dr. Marg is still here. I assume he's not. Students United, the Board of Trustees met this morning, or today and yesterday, I believe. Students United has been working over the past month and a half, 2 months, with other bargaining units at the system level. So that's the IFO, MAPE, just a bunch of other areas. And they released a letter to the Board of Trustees and provided testimony related to Equity 2030, specifically asking the Board of Trustees and the system to adopt these 12 recommendations you can see on that link. And they gave a whole letter and testimony and stuff like that. I would have had our Senate endorse this letter and stuff like that like today, but it's too much to explain. And I don't have it in me really to explain the 12 recommendations, considering the report is like 90 pages or something like that. So just so everyone knows, Students United did do that as well and is working to push Equity 2030 at the system level. And really, those recommendations are pretty good. For example, recommendation 11 is asking to recruit and retain faculty, staff, and administrators from communities of color and Native American communities, just among the many that are on those recommendation lists. So it's great stuff. It's something that Students United is still going to push next year and years after. Let's see. I finished just an FYI to Senate, I finished all my consultation letters. It was a lot of work. So just as what people may not know is per our action on a lot of our items, we do write letters to the Board of Trustees and the Chancellor outlining that we've been consulted in our position on them. So I've written them on tuition, the online tuition differential, the differential request programs that were sent in for grad programs, room board rates, and student fees. And so and the SURSA allocation. So those are on their way to the Chancellor and the Board of Trustees for their viewing. The last thing I will show Senate, I don't know how many of you are going to care. I spent a lot of time on it, and Kara's going to roll her eyes. I don't care. One thing we've been trying to work for student government for years is to come up with a better way to track our work as a Senate. And so I don't know why, because I'm leaving anyways. I made a legislation tracker going all the way back to 2016. Yeah, 2016. So if anyone's curious on things we've done, it's a great way to look back at history. For example, if you're curious, like there's Veteran Center stuff in here, like when we created the Veteran Center, trigger warnings were from student government, changing from king and queen for royalty to just royalty is in here. So it's a great way to always reflect back and see what the work we've done as student government over the years. And we have, of course, the stuff coming up today and everything we've done this year. So, and also it's kind of a bragging right. I do have data in here of who's done the most legislation, and we're getting up there. So, yeah. And my last thing I just wanted to say is thank you to our Senate for being great. Truly, we've done a lot of great work, and I think next year's student government has a lot to do to compare. So good luck to them, but just want to thank everyone for being there and really being engaged and involved. If you're not a senator next year and you're going to be here, get involved again. There's openings. So yeah, I yield for any questions.
Are there any questions for President Trenny? Senator Flynn.
Do you know how long the inauguration will be running until?
Yes, it should go probably an hour minimum, hour and a half late, but it should be an hour. We do have a lot of awards to give out though. So we were giving out Coordinator of the Year, Senator of the Year, Administrator of the Year, Staff Member of the Year, Faculty Member of the Year, the scholarships for the Barnes & Noble, outgoing addresses, incoming addresses, and swearing in. So it should be kind of lengthy, but we'll try to get through it. So.
Any other questions? Any other questions? Any other questions? Any other questions? Okay, seeing none. Vice President Maltari.
Hello, everyone. This is my last officer report of the year. President Shani has mentioned, I'll miss all this, I promise. The reason behind bringing Dr. Mertz for Goal Area 7 presentation was he would be a better person explaining this. And so we are just working on that still, and with terms and stuff. There's a lot of work to be done still, as you mentioned. Another thing is Reflection Space Task Force. We actually drafted a proposal, has been sent to Dr. Jones, and we are moving forward with that. It was started by President Rennie when he was serving as the Vice President along with President Omar. And I'm honestly grateful that things moved forward, and I think the next semester you guys will be seeing everything more than anybody else. Other than this, Return to Learn Student Services has had their second meeting, and they discussed mostly about how classes would look like for next semester. And mostly I had a discussion, because I was the student representation on that committee, with Dean Flannery about what do students want in their classes and what do they think about how classes should look like. So that is what we discussed about. And then, I hope to see you all in the inauguration soon. And you all did great for this year. And I wish all the best to President Rennie and Kara Ariana for everything. And I cannot wait for things they accomplish, honestly. President Rennie is going to grad school, so I don't know how it's going to be. But with that, I yield.
Thank you. Are there any questions for Vice President Maltari? Any questions? Any questions? Any questions? Okay, seeing none. I'll move on to my report. So I just have a few things. First of all, make sure you get the transition reports in. Get them in today, but also just get them in general. So even if they're late, we'd rather have them than not have them. But make sure you put some thought into that. Shouldn't take you too long. Just kind of an overview of what you've learned and what you would pass on to future senators. So get those in. I would echo what President Trenny and Vice President Maltari said. Please come to inauguration, and even if your term in student government is done, we'd love to have you. We'd love to have you there as we give out those awards. So please, if you're able to, come to that. Speaker applications. Those will be due on the 27th at noon. So if you know anyone, please make sure that you encourage them to go fill that out on Engage. And then if anyone has questions related to speaker or the role of speaker, feel free to reach out to me and I can give you a little bit more insight into that. Beyond that, I just also wanted to take this time to say my thanks as well. Thank you everyone for granting me just the patience and grace to learn and adapt to this role. It really takes a village, and I think everyone from John to Mark to all the expertise of people to be there supporting me, and I just really appreciate it. I grew a lot in this role, and that's thanks to the community that we've built here. So thank you, and I wish you all the best. But with that, we have one more Dean of the Day, and I have double checked that this is the right Dean. So hopefully this last time, I'm gonna get it correct. Dean Corley, would you like to say anything?
Sure, thank you. I just wanted to, congratulate everybody who's graduating and just echo what Mark Constantine said earlier. I think he really put it very well to describe what you guys all did. This was really, Andrew and Arnavi were some of the first people I was able to interact with as Dean. And it's really been a pleasure to work with both of you, especially in helping to shape the library and the bookstore committee. I think you guys worked really hard on that, and I think that has a bright future ahead of it. So thank you very much.
Thank you. With that, are there any questions? Any questions? Any questions? Any questions? Okay, seeing none, we are going to move on to senator reports. So starting with Senator Khan.
Hi, just a little bit about my senator reports is I worked on a few projects that I already talked about in my last senator report. I've been working with Brian, where we talked about the technology integration liaison position. And I do plan on working with him next semester from the next Senate and shaping that position. We'll be talking about the position descriptions and making sure that we're definitely making like the best out of this position. So that is something that I'm looking forward to. In terms of some of the last projects, I did have a conversation with Emma, and then we're going to be talking more about her senator project, and I'll be collaborating with her with her on her project and making sure that we get that started and get that continued and worked out. That should be it from my side.
Wonderful. Are there any questions for Senator Khan? Any questions? Any questions? Any questions? Okay. Seeing none, Senator Wickman.
All right. Hello, everybody. I'd first like to start out my report by saying thank you for this opportunity to serve on student government. It's been a pleasure to serve with all you. Working on the Student Allocations Committee has really opened my eyes to a lot of things at this university, so I'm super grateful for that opportunity. Regarding my project, I'm sure as many of you have seen, I have a support resolution today in the meeting agenda. Hoping to get support from the student government for my project, just to really put that stamp of approval on it when it goes to Dr. Jones and potentially the president's cabinet to be implemented. So yeah, over the last couple of weeks, I've just been having various meetings regarding the Fraternity and Sorority Life Rock Garden and just tying up all the loose ends there. We should be submitting our project form here probably next week sometime. But yeah, that's all I got. Y'all will be hearing from me more in new business. Thank you.
Wonderful. Any questions for Senator Wickman? Any questions? Any questions? Any questions? Okay, seeing none. Senator Mecklenburg.
Hi, I'm sorry for the background noise. I'm in the bullpen, just to preface. So since my last report, we have not moved forward much on anything with the LGBT learning community project due to like our last step having to happen in October of next year. So as of lately, I just have been like talking to students and hearing if anything's popping up with like either Wi-Fi issues or other things that are happening. And Mac and in Prescott, I talked to a lot of students around there and Res Life people. So I've just been doing that lately. And even though I'm not going to be a senator next semester or next year, I still plan on helping with the LGBT learning community, and hopefully will be an asset to the residential life senators that come around next year. And that is it.
Thank you. Any questions for Senator Mecklenburg? Any questions? Any questions? Any questions? Okay. Senator Vondra.
Hi there. Apologies in advance. Mine is going to be a little longer, but I'll try to be speedy. To start off, as many of you are aware, to backtrack, one of my projects was inherited from my predecessor, Ollie Schmidt. I think I pronounced their last name right. They informed me of a project that the Performing Arts Center library was going to be changed into classrooms. And we wanted to prevent this. So after many meetings with Dean Chris Brown, I am pleased to announce that we have been successful. They are not converting it into, well, just plain classrooms. I know that might sound weird, but it's being converted into a intimate performance space, which will also help with, there is actually scheduling issues with classrooms in the Performing Arts Center. The dance rooms have to be used as acting classrooms often, and it's going to help alleviate that. So that's I was told that is officially a go. Moving on to my RHA stuff. I had a project this semester to redefine the relationship between RHA and student government through legislation and other means. This involved a lot of review of and rewriting and amending of the RHA Constitution. This was also successful, although I'm not going to claim any of the credit for that. The credit for that all goes to the National Communication Coordinators, or NCC, Oakley Russell and Mitchell Pommier, I believe that's how I pronounce his last name, and their wonderful, wonderful work. And I hope that there's still work to be done in that regard, but I hope that I know that my success, President-elect Patrick Flynn will help with that. Hi, Patrick. However, and lastly, I must say I sadly resigned from that position due to mental health reasons, and being that I resigned, I don't no longer feel it appropriate to comment on them. So if anybody wants to reach out about RHA, please contact RHA Vice President Joey Novak. I mention this every time I do a report, I'm sorry, but in my academic world, I am in my third and final theater production of the 2020-2021 season. And I have designed and opened 3 successful productions this year, and it's just been amazing. And I do have a small announcement in that regards. I can't tell you what shows I'm doing or what shows there are yet. I think that information's elsewhere, but I am pleased to announce that next year, the 2021-2022 season, I will be making my main stage debut as a designer. And lastly, I know I'm already I'm going to be doing this again, but I just want to say thank you to everybody. To quote one of my favorite comedy groups, there's been times where I wasn't knowing. I can't talk, everybody. It's the end semester. I didn't know what I was doing, but I insisted on doing it. So that is all. I yield for any questions, comments.
Thank you. Are there any questions or comments? Any questions? Any questions? Any questions? Okay, seeing none. Thank you, Senator Vondra. Next up, I have Senator Sweeney.
All right. As you all know, I was a mid-season replacement, and we all know that I'm not co-located on campus. So one of my big pet peeves or projects is actually 2. One is to kind of get textbook availability up for us, kind of get mini satellite libraries for myself, for TCE and our Iron Range Engineering, our sister program. And then also been working with Matt Clay, the assistant CIO for academic technology, to try and get softwares available for us too. TCE, Twin Cities Engineering Program, is co-located on Normandale campus. And so we're kind of limited by their software, and I want to try and get it, which is a 2-year college, and they don't always have the same software we need for our 4-year program. So those are what I'm working on right now. And I yield any questions.
Are there any questions? Any questions? Any questions? Any questions? Seeing none, thank you, Senator Sweeney. And finally, I have Senator Mendonça.
Good afternoon, everyone. I do apologize. This is going to be a little longer as well, and I'll try to get through it as quick as possible. I'm going to start off with the less than ideal news, and then I'll move on into the more than ideal news and end off with some closing remarks as well, as this is my last senator report, and I won't be continuing with student government next semester. So in my last report, I made claims to 3 projects that I had planned to accomplish and complete by the end of the semester. And unfortunately, not everything went to plan, and I realized that it wasn't quite possible to complete all 3 of them. So one of the things I wanted to do was create a new job position that helped international students obtain kind of work opportunities on campus and whilst also helping professors with their Zoom needs, with recording and things like that. And after looking into it further, I realized that there was a position quite like this that already existed. And I suppose, when I realized this, I realized that, doing this extra project as well might not have been the wisest choice for me, just because it would have been a little too much on my plate and I would not have been able to accomplish it as effectively as I could have. And with that time that I had, I put more effort into something that I'm going to bring up in a couple of minutes over here, that I realized that I was really able to put a lot of effort into, and I think it's going to be a huge success. So before I get into that, I mentioned that I wanted to wrap up the project that I worked on close to the end of the first semester, where I worked on revising the College of Business's approach to Zoom learning, as well as their project-based learning opportunities. As I mentioned in my previous report, the step this semester that I wanted to take to kind of complete that project was to kind of look at it from the faculty's perspective and see how we as students could better kind of serve their needs. So for lack of a better word, we could kind of harmoniously adapt to these new changes. And essentially that, as hard as it is to measure the success of that project, seeing multiple professors make changes within their syllabi, both within my classes as well as some of my peers' classes, and as well as having students come up to me and say, "Hey, my professor said that you suggested to do this within your class, and I really enjoyed that they incorporated this within their syllabus." It definitely left me with a big feeling of accomplishment. So I'm extremely glad that worked out pretty well. And finally, with my final large project this semester that I've been putting in a lot of work into and I'm extremely excited for, though it is not complete yet, it is well in the ways of being introduced and ready to be set up for the next academic semester. As I mentioned in the last Senator report, it's a new position that's going to be paid within the College of Business for the students to help students. And it's currently going to be titled the College of Business Student Executives. So as I mentioned in the last report, it's a position that kind of helps students be representatives of the College of Business, kind of the top students in the COB that really engage in all the activities and projects that are offered by them. And, the students that really represent what the COB stands for, they were the ones that we're targeting to apply for this position. It is a paid position, so it's about 150 hours of work throughout each semester. And we did a bit of calculations, and it should be a paid position for about $1,000 stipend per semester. So it's going to be $2,000 for each individual that's going to be participating in this. So we've been meeting with both David and myself have been meeting with multiple students, doing interviews on how we can refine this project, as well as with faculty. Just last week, we met with the College of Business's academic council, so it's all their department chairs, and we got some fantastic feedback from them on the organization structure for this, how we can keep the interviews as unbiased as possible, and how there's going to be accountability structure set up within it. And essentially now the next step is to finalize plans for our marketing video that we tend to publish before the end of the year. So it's an advertisement that's going to be for the students to kind of say, hey, this looks like a fun job. I'd like to apply for it. And then over summer, both David and myself will be meeting with some donors that are going to fund this project as well. And we'll also be conducting interviews for the COB students so that, we can kind of get an actual team of people to fall under this job. And yeah, I'm extremely excited for it. And I really think that it's going to go, as much as I'm not participating in the student government next semester, this is kind of like the remnants of this position that are going to help me work on co-chairing with David that position next semester. And with that, I yield to any questions or any pieces of advice that you could give me for this project.
Wonderful. Are there any questions or feedback for Senator Mendonça? Any questions? Any questions? Any questions? Okay, seeing none. Thank you, Senator. So next, we're going to go ahead and move on to vacancies. We have a residential life senator position that is open, but we also have the speaker position that's open, and that is on the 28th. That's when that will be filled. Moving on, we have quite a few pieces of new business today. Figured we'd get it all in that last meeting. So starting with Senator Wickman, would you like to introduce your motion?
Yes. Could I please have screen sharing ability?
I think you should have it.
Oh, well, wonderful. All right. I will start off here by reading the motion. Can you all see it? Okay, perfect. All right, so the Fraternity and Sorority Life Rock Garden Support Resolution. Whereas the fraternity and sorority life community consists of over 400 students on campus as part of its 10 organizations, and whereas fraternity and sorority life members strive for academic excellence, service to the community, and philanthropy to improve the campus community as well as the greater Mankato community, and whereas many students on campus are unaware of the fraternity and sorority life community as there is no current physical presence of these organizations on campus, and whereas a rock garden would make incoming and first-year students more aware of the various organizations and their benefits, ideally boosting consideration of joining the FSL community. And whereas students who join the FSL community are more likely to graduate from the university and less likely to transfer out to another university. And be it resolved, the 88th Student Government supports and endorses the addition of a fraternity and sorority life rock garden on campus. Be it further resolved, the 88th Student Government formally requests that the university and the President's Cabinet approve of the request to undertake said project. That is my support resolution I'm presenting to y'all today. You've heard a lot throughout the year of this project that I've been working on along with Senator Gustafson, and we've made a lot of headway, and we're getting near to the end here, and the approval of the Student Senate would really go a long way. So thank you.
Wonderful. Senator Gustafson, you seconded the motion. Would you like to speak on your second?
No, Senator Wickman covered everything.
Thank you. So at this point, we are going to go ahead and enter a period of discussion. Are there any points of discussion on this resolution? Senator Novak.
I actually have a question. Previously, when you came in, you were talking about a couple of considerations that went into this, which were the location of the rock garden and how we were proceeding with it. I believe last time the thought for the location was putting it next to the library. Is that still the plan? And then also, are we going with like the bigger rock design or the lots of little rocks to represent each frat or sorority?
Yeah, awesome question. So I had a meeting with the Vice President of Student Affairs, Dr. David Jones, as well as the Assistant Vice President of Facilities, Paul Corcoran, and we discussed and we narrowed in on if you're looking at the library from the front, between it and the CSU, there's some crossway-looking sidewalks, and there's a good chunk of green space in there that's completely unused. So after talking with them, we think that would be a suitable location for our project. And then, what was your other question? I apologize.
That was just whether or not you were going with the bigger rock design or the littler ones, with each of the frat or sororities.
Yes, so we're kind of trying to go off of, I showed you guys pictures in my last senator report of the University of Tampa. They had individual smaller rocks for each organization. So we're going to be trying to go in that direction.
Wonderful. Are there any other points of discussion? 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 Okay, seeing none, we are going to go ahead. I really tried to give you guys that last chance. We are going to go ahead and move to a vote. Is there any dissent to the resolution or to the fraternity and sorority life rock garden resolution? Is there any dissent? Any dissent? Any dissent? Any dissent? Seeing no dissent, I assume unanimous consent, and this resolution does pass 28 to 0 to 0. So congratulations, Senator Wickman. I know you've been working all year on that, so that's wonderful. Okay, so next we're going to move on to the Senate legislative process motion. This was motioned by President Trenny and seconded by Vice President Maltari.
Okay, here we go. Hopefully everyone sees my screen. So basically, student government, we have operating procedures. So it goes in order of precedence. It goes Constitution, bylaws, operating procedures, and they basically explain things, and help define things further than our other governing documents. So these are the lowest of the totem pole. And we've, over the past couple of years, we've had different speakers have bylaw requirements, 2-week voting period. So we just want to clarify that and just have that done forever. So the next speaker doesn't have to be our bylaws 2 weeks? Are they 1 week? Can we expedite voting? Can we not? So this clarifies, one, that student senate legislation can come in many formats, such as motions, resolutions, constitutional amendments, and bylaw amendments. By the way, constitutional amendments, many people don't know this. You can't actually amend our constitution. The student body has to do that. So this would make a suggestion to the Constitution Commission to make it to a referendum. So it's not like we're amending our constitution. And then all legislation should follow the format set out by the speaker. Again, some speakers require whereases, some don't, whatever. And then, but at a minimum, all proposed legislation must be in writing. Again, we've had years where it's just spoken motions, and that's just not good. And then the speaker would have to go back and find the wording for it, and it's just not fun. Motions and resolutions can be voted on at the same meeting as their introduction. Bylaw amendments and constitutional amendments shall go through a 2-week introduction and voting period. The second meeting following introduction, bylaw and/or constitutional amendments can be voted upon by the Senate. And then the Speaker of the Senate shall update the legislation tracker found in Teams with all new legislation introduced. And then nothing above is it's not meant to violate the Constitution or bylaws. And so that's my motion.
Thank you. Vice President Multari, you seconded the motion. Would you like to speak on your second?
Pretty much what President Lenny said explains it all. So I think I should be good.
Okay. At this point, we're now going to enter a period of discussion. Are there any points of discussion? Senator Novak.
I like it. I'm always in favor of some wonderful legislation that clears things up and makes it easier to understand. That's all.
Wonderful. Any other points of discussion? Any other points of discussion? Any other points of discussion? Seeing no further discussion, we are going to go ahead and move to a vote. Is there any dissent to what's it called? The Senate legislative process motion? Any dissent? Any dissent? Any dissent? Seeing no dissent, I assume unanimous consent, and this motion does pass 28 to 0. Okay, wonderful. So next up, we have the Student Basic Needs Resolution. This is motioned by Senator Ruiz. So Senator Ruiz, if you would like to read your motion, and then we'll call for a second before we can enter discussion.
Would you like me to screen share?
Yes, please.
All right, so I think everyone can see that now?
Yep.
Okay, awesome. So I'm bringing forth the Student Basic Needs Resolution. Whereas in 2018, research conducted at the university found that nearly 2/3 of students are food insecure. Whereas college students deal with issues of mental health and the added stress of living through a global pandemic. Whereas Minnesota State University Mankato students face issues of food insecurity, housing insecurity, and mental health. Whereas in the 2021-2022 academic year, the university will have a new president and newly elected student government. Whereas students are not always aware of the resources available to them or who to reach out to at the university to address the issues of basic needs. Be it resolved, the Student Senate of the 2020-2021 academic year requests the university administration as well as the next student government continue to address basic needs issues that affect our student population. Be it further resolved, student government suggests, based on a recommendation from the Student Basic Needs Committee, that the university create a basic needs hub, which would act as a central location in which students can go to for resources that may help address issues of the nature of basic needs. Be it further resolved, the student government formally requests that the university commission a task force / work group to look at and develop recommendations to the university related to the basic needs hub. Student government requests to work in conjunction with the university on these recommendations, and be it further resolved, the student government formally asks that the basic needs hub become a top university priority.
Thank you. Is there a second on this motion?
Second.
Senator Novak seconds. Senator, could you put the document back up so we could take a look at the language again? Okay, I see that there is one friendly amendment, get rid of the asks. Okay, Senator Ruiz, do you accept that amendment? Okay. I also have a friendly amendment. Could you clarify in the first whereas, it says that nearly 2/3 of students are food insecure. Could you clarify that to have identified as food insecure, just to make sure that that language is reflective of the report? Okay, I see that that was admitted. There's also an ask in the last, be it further resolved.
No, that one was supposed to stay there.
Okay. Wonderful. Were there any other friendly amendments before we jump into discussion of it? No? Okay. Then we are going to go ahead and discuss. So Senator Ruiz, you brought forth the motion. Would you like to speak on it?
I have been working throughout the semester to address issues within the Student Basic Needs Committee, and making sure that this work continues even after us is important. And after meeting with people who are also really interested in addressing these issues, we have suggested the creation of the Basic Needs Hub, which in itself would help students find the resources that they need to address these issues, as well as potentially creating a place for, you know, other students in other departments, for example, like social work or something, to get involved and do some work at this like local university level.
Wonderful. Senator Novak, you seconded. Would you like to speak on your second?
I will speak on my second. I believe that this is absolutely essential because within the Basic Needs Committee, we noticed an issue, which is that while we have a lot of wonderful opportunities available for people, we found that the main issue is that a lot of students are unaware that those opportunities exist. So we felt that a Basic Needs Hub would be absolutely essential to directing those students to the great assets and resources that we already have. For that reason, I'm highly in favor of this bill.
Thank you. We're now going to open up discussion to everyone. Are there any points of discussion? President Trenny.
Yes, thank you, Madam Speaker. 100% supportive. I really appreciate Senator Ruiz for bringing this forward. I think the last two, be it for the resolve clauses, are very important as well. Instead of just saying we want it, we want them to work with us to do it. And so I think the next student government has a lot to work with this, and I encourage everyone to support it. I yield.
Thank you. Are there any other points of discussion? 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 Seeing no further discussion, Senator Stiff.
Sorry, I was trying to find the react button. So I'm also in support of this. This is something me and Kara are really passionate about as well going into next year. And I also thank Senator Ruiz for bringing it up. So I will be voting in favor.
Thank you. Any other points of discussion? Okay, seeing none, we are going to go ahead and move on to a vote. Is there any dissent on the Student Basic Needs resolution? Any dissent? Any dissent? Any dissent? Seeing no dissent, I assume unanimous consent, and this resolution does pass 28-0 Are there any other points of new business? Oh, congratulations, Senator Ruiz. Sorry, I forgot about that part. Are there any other points of new business? Any other? Vice President Multari.
Sorry, Madam Speaker, I'm just sharing one of the motions I wanted to present today. Give me a second. I ended up sharing the wrong screen, sorry. Can you see my screen now?
We can.
So So this resolution is pretty much for the food pantry because we were trying to do a one-time funding for them. So this motion is just stating that, making sure that they get funded over the years, because we just visited the food pantry and I could see how much people love it and how much people try to get stuff and how much they're helped. So I'm just presenting this one today. It says, whereas 64% of students at MSU experience some level of food insecurity, and whereas the COVID-19 pandemic has also increased the level of food insecurity among our student body, and whereas President Davenport and his cabinet approved the creation of food pantry on campus, efforts and diversity and inclusion in other departments to begin providing food to students over winter break. So it's basically explaining how it's assisting Swipe Out Hunger. So whereas student government has supported creation of programs with food insecurity like Swipe Out Hunger, Campus Cupboard, Campus Kitchen. So be it resolved, Student Senate gives it official endorsement to creation of Maverick Food Pantry. Be it resolved, Student Senate formally requests the incoming university president to commit supporting and continuing the Maverick Food Pantry again. And then it requests that any adjustment of financial support to food pantry from university should go through meet and confer process with Student Senate approval. And then we should also assist promotion of the food pantry. Other than this, Student Basic Needs Committee shall be tasked with working the food pantry and advisory capacity. So basically explaining why is it important, and it's like just a support for food pantry.
Excuse me, Vice President Maltari, we need to call for a second first.
Oh, sorry.
Is there a second?
Second.
President Trenny seconds the motion. At this point, let's maybe look at friendly amendments first before we go into discussion. Are there any friendly amendments? Any friendly amendments? I have one. On the first whereas section, again, to be consistent with the last resolution we passed and the language and the study you're citing, can you change it to at MNSU self-identify as experiencing?
This is where you meant, right? Experiencing?
Yep, that section, self-identify as experiencing.
Identify experience.
I can put the language in the chat.
Okay, sure. I'll just add it.
Are there any other friendly amendments? No? Okay, so at this point, we're going to go ahead and open up discussion. Vice President Maltari, you brought forth the motion. Would you like to speak on it?
So yeah, this motion is pretty much explaining why is food pantry important and why does it need to be funded. This motion is also supporting the fact that food insecurity is a serious topic and needs to be taken into consideration. And I would really encourage that this motion gets approved, or you guys support this motion, because I have seen students utilizing the food pantry already, and I feel like this is a great resource for students at MSU. So yeah, that should be supported.
Thank you. President Trenny, you seconded the motion. Would you like to speak on it?
Yes, thank you, Madam Speaker. Thank you, Vice President Maltari, for writing this. It's really well put together. I laugh because I also wrote it. I just want to point out some of the language in here is really good. Like, for example, that the student government requests that any adjustment of financial support from basically the institution to the food pantry go through our consultation process and with student senate sign off. That's something I've been worried about all year is the university next year, 2 years, 3 years down the road, saying, you know what, pandemic's over, we don't need it, pull the plug. This is something I feel very confident about, the food pantry. I've been over there multiple times and see dozens of students getting food and just all that they've expanded to. And it just, I don't know, it's so nice to see what they've done. Literally one of the best resources we have. The other thing I wanted to point out to Senate is we also asked that the incoming president, so I assuming our next leadership, not me, because I'm down at 4 tomorrow, write a letter to the incoming university president asking him to President-elect Ainge to continue to support it, expand it, and continue the Maverick Food Pantry. So this gives our sign off as a official endorsement and asking the university to keep it going, not just next year, but years forward, but also to make sure it's adequately funded and not funded. So I yield.
Thank you. Are there any other points of discussion? Any other points of discussion? Any other points of discussion? Senator Novak, I know you have a discussion point just waiting. And Senator Novak.
I feel like I talk too much, and I know that this is going to pass, so it's not even necessary, but I'm absolutely in favor of this. Like 64% of students self-identified as experiencing some level of food insecurity. If that's not enough of a reason to demonstrate that we absolutely need to keep and maintain a food pantry that is accessible to students, I don't know what else possibly could be. Like, this is something that's absolutely essential to our students on campus. And I completely support this resolution, and I hope to see it pass.
Thank you. Any other points of discussion? Any other points of discussion? Any other points of discussion? Seeing no further discussion, we are going to go ahead and move to a vote. Is there any dissent on the resolution of support for the creation of the Minnesota State University Mankato Food Pantry? Any points of discussion, or any dissent? Any dissent? Any dissent? Seeing no dissent, I assume unanimous consent, and this motion does pass 28-0. Congratulations on your motion. So at this point, I think we got it all, but is there any other new business? Any other new business? Any other new business? Okay. Oh, President Trenny. No, don't blame me like that. Okay. Seeing no further new business, you guys we wanted to go out with a bang today. I see. We've been saving all those resolutions up. Any old business? There is none. So we're going to go ahead and move on to announcements. Does anyone have an announcement? Oh, we have announcements. Mr. Constantine.
What's become a bit of a tradition for us is next Wednesday we have our annual Mall Fest. We usually do some end of the year things in the CSU too, but with the pandemic we haven't continued to do those. But next Wednesday from 11 to 2, we'll have a petting zoo going on outside for folks to come out there and enjoy themselves. Free hot dogs, chips, and drinks starting at 11:30. Lenny has arranged for a great band to be outside from 11 to 1. Matter of fact, the opener for that, the Maverick Machine has started a new steel drum group, and they'll be opening for about 15 to 20 minutes before the other band as well. And then the student events team will do their annual 1,000 ways to win a ping pong ball drop that they'll be doing socially distanced. People will have different blocks that they have to stand in while the balls are coming down, where you can win some neat prizes too. So anybody that's around next Wednesday between classes, stop out at the mall. Hopefully we'll have some good weather, enjoy the animals, some food, and some good music, and maybe win some nice prizes. Thanks.
Thank you. Senator Vondra.
Hi there. I just wanted to state again that the theater department has a production of a play called Next Fall that opens tonight. Doors open at 7 o'clock, so you can get there in time tonight. And it is a very beautiful play. The whole department has been giving nothing but great comments about it. I mean, the people who aren't in it. So please come out and support your theater.
Wonderful. Thank you. John.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. As has been said a few times, it's been a pleasure working with the 88th Senate. Thank you very much for your hard work throughout the course of the year. I do look forward to working with the 89th as well. So we've already started some transition-y type stuff. So things are moving very, very well. So Again, congratulations on a good year. Please be sure you leave good notes so that your successors aren't starting from scratch. So that's part of those transition reports that they have mentioned for you to do. We know what it can be like coming into a new role, and without some advice or guidance, or at least info as to where things currently stand, that can be more difficult. So I'm going to post in the group chat here for everyone. I think word about this session is just starting to come out, but we know that for several years, the topic of the Abe Lincoln statue in the CSU has been one that has triggered interest among students, various groups, and people and visitors to campus. There is a conversation that is going to happen regarding that coming up on Thursday, April 29th, and I'm going to post a PDF of that, the information about that event in the group chat. So again, congratulations on a good year. I will see you tomorrow, hopefully in person. So I got Fauci Ouchie number 2 today, so we'll see how that plays out. So
thank you. Are there any other announcements? That was okay. I'm lost. Are there any other announcements? President Rennie.
Couple things. One, I got to scroll back up for this. We still puddle past poverty this Saturday at 11 p.m. in the Blue Earth County parking garage / ramp. We have paid the sponsorship of $1,000. Bikers can win prizes, and money is raised for supporting Mankato's 2 homeless shelters. I think it's only 20-minute heats. I will provide, potentially provide rides. Speakers Ursula and I will provide rides. I'm kidding. We live in the same building. So no, just let me know if you want to go. I will get us, we have signed up people who are already going, but I can get you in last minute. Again, it's a great thing to do. Encourage you to do it if you haven't done anything this year. The other thing I wanted to remind people, transition reports. I've gotten a couple more in from this meeting, but seriously, if you don't do it, you're losing your guide cords. So, and potentially your award at banquet. So I'll just throw that in there. And then lastly, a gloating thing I wanted to say. I think I showcased the legislation tracker earlier. We are now at 20, so we've done the most in 5 years. So clap. Anyways, I yield for my last comments. So.
President Rennie must have had an ulterior motive today with all those motions. Also, we're very fun to carpool with, so please, if you're thinking about it.
I do sing.
That's true. Yep. Senator Gabbard.
Oh, I just wanted to mention that I'm driving down to the inauguration tomorrow from the cities and back. So if you need a ride from the cities, let me know and we can carpool with masks on. Thanks.
Wonderful. Senator Stiff.
Yeah, this is to President Trini. He said he had the most legislation so far, but that's going to change next year. So I hope that you've enjoyed your record, President Trini.
Madam Speaker, if I can make one comment.
No.
No. Senator Mendonça.
This is strictly out of curiosity, but in the carpool, who'd be on aux if President Trini is singing?
I can actually answer that. I would absolutely be on aux for everyone's benefit. Okay. Any other announcements? Senator Novak's made a commitment to write 20 pieces of legislation, so that's good. Any other announcements? Seeing none, for the final time, it's time for roll call. So get ready. We're going to try to make this smooth, efficient. Here we go. Senator Biggs.
Present.
Senator Gustafson.
Right here.
Senator Gabbard.
Here.
Senator Vondra.
Afweedison.
Senator Limo.
Present.
Senator Mendonça.
President on time.
Senator Parte.
Here.
Senator Salim. Senator Nemo. Senator Nemo. Okay. Senator Hawk. Senator Khan.
Here.
Senator Pham.
Here.
Senator Al-Sadi.
Here.
Senator Olvera.
Here.
Senator Osmond. Senator Osmond. Senator Stiff.
Here.
Senator Nelson.
Here.
Senator Sweeney.
Yo.
Senator Ruiz.
Here.
Senator Wheeler. Senator Wheeler. Senator Thomas. Senator Thomas. Senator Abbasi. Guys, you're killing me. Come on, Senator Abbasi. No? Okay, Senator Bejarano.
Here.
Senator Wickman.
Here.
Senator Hopwood.
Here.
Senator Flynn.
Yeet.
Senator Novak.
One final howdy.
Senator Mecklenburg.
Hi.
President Trenny.
Night.
Vice President Altari.
I'll miss you all.
Thank you. And myself. Well, we've left the next speaker with a goal to shoot after, but that's okay. Thank you, everybody, and we hope to see you at inauguration and the banquet. I officially adjourn the 88th Student Government at 5:31 p.m.
See ya.
Bye.
Thank you.